Welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
It's the Rock Newman Show.
And now, the Rock Newman Show. Welcome back, folks. Today is August the 3rd, 2013. This is the Rock Newman Show. I'm Rock Newman, your host, and we are broadcasting live from the stage of the Langston Hughes Room at Busboys and Poets at 14th and V Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. Come on down and join us if you're nearby. If not, tell all your friends to view us anywhere in the world at therocknewmanshow.com. My guest for this segment will be City Council member Vincent B. Orange Sr., is Democrat at large from Ward 4 in the District of Columbia. Councilman Orange, welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, let's jump right into this, man. I know you have some commitments, and we're so gracious to step away and to come down, but we'll let you go back to those commitments. But again, thank you so much for joining us. So much has been in the news of late about the living wage bill. And man, when you read the headlines about the living wage bill, $12, and the council people, in an effort to increase the income of its residents, correct, have constructed a living wage bill which says that the minimum would be $12.50 for certain companies of certain size.
Correct.
And certainly on the surface, that sounds like a wonderful thing. Who would root against a living wage bill that's going to pay the employees $12.50? The flip side of that is that there has been much talk about if the mayor approves that bill, if he signs that bill, that Walmart, one of the world's largest retailer, would fail to proceed. They would not proceed in anchoring several developments in the city that would create thousands of jobs. And so therefore, it's not although it seems on the surface $12.50 is a good thing, living wage bill, it's got a great name, but at the end of the day, it would do more harm than good. And Councilman Orange says what?
Well, I don't accept that premise that it would do more harm than good. Just like your previous guest here with basketball, DC basketball changed the world. Well, DC living wage will definitely change the world. The United States Congress Democratic Staff Committee on Education and Workforce has indicated if we can just get workers to $25,000 a year, and that's about $12.50 per hour, that we will lift 734,000 people out of poverty, that we will increase GDP by $15 billion, that we will create 132,000 jobs. So we need to understand right now in the nation's capital that this is a nationwide issue right now. You have people striking all over this country now because of what we did here in Washington, D.C. And we should be leading the way to say we want to have a better quality of life for our residents, which will also impact the nation. The policy that we are projecting now is a living wage, affordable housing, access to health care, and a good education, and you can begin to build a good family here in the nation's capital, which would reverberate throughout the world.
Yeah, you know something, man, that is absolutely practical. I sense that as being, practical and reasonable and a reasonable goal. You as a strong proponent of the living wage bill, put forth that as one great reason that the nation's capital should lead the way. In a little bit, we may have enough time to get into, we say on the nation's capital should lead the way. I often talk about that this is the seat of democracy for the world, and we don't have democracy here because we don't have, we don't have full representation, of our vote. But the opponents and as the mayor who sat here, and I don't think that anyone would dispute whether or not the mayor has the best interests of the citizens at heart. I don't think anybody would dispute that. But he obviously, the bill hadn't gotten to his desk yet. There are some accusations about that being politics, the reason why it hasn't gotten to his desk. But when it gets to his desk, it seems every indication is that he will veto the bill.
And, that would be very unfortunate, because if he vetoes the bill, basically he will become one of the bigger subsidizers of Walmart. If Walmart pays our citizens $8.25 per hour, that's about $17,000 on an annual basis. We will pick up the social costs. That is because those employees will not be able to afford or have benefits. So our Section 8 housing is going to go up because they're still going to need access to housing. Their households, their children will still use the school lunch and breakfast programs. They'll be applying for food stamps. They'll need access to health care. They'll need energy assistance with their utility bills. In the words of Congressman John Lewis, they're nothing but starvation wages. They're poverty wages. And it's unfortunate that we would even think about vetoing this bill when we just invited Costco to the nation's capital. They've been here about 6 months. They're doing extremely well, but they pay on average their employees $21.96 per hour. 84% of the employees right now at Costco are DC residents, and they support the living wage. We also have Trader Joe's in town. They pay a nice hourly wage, so it can be done.
Is it Walmart's resistance to this living wage bill? Is that just simply an approach of greed? Would it be your contention that that's simply a matter of greed? Certainly we see the billions and billions and billions of profit they make.
Well, I would put it like this. Last year, Walmart generated in excess of $470 billion in sales. Their net income was $17 billion. Their CEO makes $11,000 an hour, or as Ralph Nader would say, $200 per minute. And in one day, that CEO makes $88,000, and that is about
You making me want to be the CEO of Walmart.
and that's about 5 individuals making $8.25 per hour in one day. He makes what they make in 1 year. So what we're saying is, okay, maybe you may not make $17 billion in net income. Maybe you're going to make $16.5 billion. So share the wealth, share the prosperity. The doors of the nation's capital are open to Walmart and any other large retailer. What we're saying is that you must share the prosperity so we don't have to pick up the social costs. Now, the District of Columbia, we're doing well. We just coming off of $800 million in surpluses over our last 4 fiscal years.
Right.
We're projected a $600 million surplus over our next 4 or 5 fiscal years. We have $1.5 billion in the bank. We have a larger concentrated consumer base in the District of Columbia with disposable income. That's the reason why Walmart is knocking on our door. They want what we have. We have the disposable income. We have 67 cranes in this city right now in development projects. We have a plan where we're going to create 50,000 jobs over the next 10 years. And all of this was without taking Walmart into our equation. So Walmart can help us move forward, but it's not like our economy is going to roll over and die because Walmart doesn't.
Well, let me ask, like a neighborhood, and for the life of me, it's not Parklands, but where Walmart was planning to come over there in Southeast.
Skyland.
Yes. And Skyland. That's been an area of blight for a very long time.
Yes.
The developer there contends that if the living wage bill goes through and if Walmart pulls out, there's absolutely not another retailer who has come close to committing to anchoring that project, and so therefore the project wouldn't go forth, and the prospect being that that there would be blight there for multiple more years.
Well, once again, I don't buy into that premise as well. I've been going to the ICSCs, the International Conference of Shopping Centers, for the last 13 years. I've been there when all these deals are being put together. Mm-hmm. And obviously, maybe he may have some setback, but at the end of the day, all roads lead to the east of the river. And that's the reason why they're now having discussions on relaxing the height restrictions, because the best views are from east of the river. Right. East of the river will be developed, so we can't get caught up in the hype. It's sort of like what Franklin Delano Roosevelt said back in 1938 when he was dealing with the New Deal and he was dealing with the minimum wage. Don't believe that hype. And here we are today. You know, we're doing well. There's discussion now on the Hill about increasing the minimum wage to $10.10 per hour, which if that happens, that means in D.C. the minimum wage will be $11.10. What has happened since the late 1980s up until now is that there has not been a progression of wages along with the productivity of this country.
Right.
And that's why people are now all across America, they're striking, they're raising, raising hell.
The gap. The gap is
the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer.
Yeah, and you know that's far more than just a cliche. You know, Jay-Z was on Bill Maher's show just recently, and he talked about that. You know, and he talked about the frustration of those who are left out, and that there should be reason for concern, because when folks see that reality of the rich just keep getting richer and the poor just keep getting poorer, you know, how that frustration is manifested is in many different antisocial ways.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the classic example, two people making the minimum wage, $8.25 per hour, means that their household income will be about $35,000. You can't buy a home in D.C. with a household income of $35,000. So if I can just get you to $12.50 per hour, two people working together, their household income is going to be $52,000. I can at least get you a house. Now, that house is not going to be downtown at that new city center they built, that $1 billion project, but you can purchase a home in the city along with our policy of access to affordable housing, access to health care, and then a good education. If you've been here during the bad times, you deserve to be here during the good times. Who are we building all this for? And I mean, that's the question. These thousands of residents that come in each month, you know, what are we doing in this city? We got to make sure that we are diverse, that we're balanced, and that everyone can at least have a good quality of life and an opportunity to dream and have hope.
Last thing on that subject, because I do want to try to get in a couple of other pieces. That it's unfair, that it singularly targets Walmart and it doesn't include other retailers.
No, the bill, the requirements of the bill, if you generate in excess of $1 billion and your footprint is greater than 75,000 square feet, you fall under the definition of having to pay the living wage. Now, the minimum wage that the federal government has put in place, if you generate more than $500,000, you must pay the minimum wage. So that's just another collateral issue. That's some other myth that you know the opposition utilizes. But at the end of the day, it's not unfair. What's unfair is what they're doing to citizens in the District of Columbia and to people across this nation, providing them starvation wages while they enjoy a good life. And, you know, Matthew 19:24, it's easier for a camel to get through an eye of a needle than a rich man to get into the kingdom of God. And so they need to take heed that, you know, people are sick and tired of being taken advantage of. And we're just saying share a little bit of prosperity. It's not much, just a little bit.
You know, in the last hour today, we have guest Phil Fornacki. He's with the Washington Lawyers group that they just co-authored a report that talks about the African-American population in Washington, D.C. now being certainly below 50%, but that 83% of all arrests are of African-American individuals, and 91% of all drug arrests are of African-American individuals. I saw Kathy Lanier's response, and it seems, just as I observe, that Kathy Lanier has been a good police chief, and that she cares about the community. I saw her response. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. Have you had a chance to see this report? Are you aware of it?
I have not seen the report. I've heard.
So the headline.
Yeah, so the headline. But I would say even that if you were to do the profile of the arrestees, and you will probably see that we have not been doing a good job with providing them an opportunity to have access to a good quality of life. At the end of the day, it's all about access. And if I'm providing you at least with shelter, with transportation and clothes, you can get up every day and then go out and tackle the world. But if you don't have the basics in life, then you can't move forward. And that's why, getting back to the issue we're talking about, if I'm just paying you enough just to get to work, but you can do nothing else, that means, one, you got to go out and get another job, or you're going to go get involved in something else. You're not going to have the time to really raise your children because you're trying to pay this utility bill. So, at the end of the day, I would rather work for Costco, where a typical employee is making $45,000 a year, as opposed to Walmart, where the typical employee is making $17,486 a year.
Let me figure that out. Yeah, I think so. Let me ask you, 3 of your council members have put their hat in the ring to run for mayor. The Mayor Gray has not announced that he will run yet. You backing anyone that's put their hat in the ring yet?
I'm keeping my powder dry at this point. I think it's too early. There's a lot of other factors that are going to come into this equation, and I don't think everybody's in the race yet. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Any chance Vincent Orange might throw his hat in the ring?
So you never know. I'm going to keep my powder dry at this point.
You heard it. You heard it today. Vincent Orange said that he was going to run for mayor in the upcoming mayoral race. I think as we extrapolate here on the Rock Newman Show. Thank you, Vince Orange, so much for joining us.
It's always a pleasure.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you, sir.
Rock Newman Show. It's the Rock Newman Show.